Hello.
Oh, there we go. So, we were going to go and record some fun content at the Christmas market today, but it is really windy and really rainy, so we're going to go home and do a what we learned in our first vlog video instead.
Yeah, I think sitting in front of the computer, a little talking head, is just going to be much easier than, walking around in the rain and the wind and trying to battle with that. So, yeah, cup of tea, talking head. Let's do this.
Hello.
Hello. So, yeah, it's windy and it's rainy and we're not going to go out there and do things that we don't need to do. Also, yes, we are sharing a chair because we haven't actually got a proper setup yet. So we're in front of the computer, but we only have one chair. So luckily, Amy's small. So that helps. So this is a video all about what we learned from our first travel vlog. Much like me looking at the screen now instead of looking at the lens, which is something I did learn and I've forgotten to do already. So we learned a lot of things. We put up first two parts of our travel vlog so far from New York City, and I think we're just going to go through 8 to 10 part list of what we learned.
So the main things we're going to cover are planning, actually record things that you want to record. Don't be afraid to get your camera out in public. Just be yourself. Speak with purpose. You can't have too much footage. Buy a mic and use one camera. And then shoot chronologically. So they're the main sort of bits we're going to go through.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we learned. I think we made a big list, and I'm sure there's going to be more things come up as we go, but I think that's the core thing. So the first thing on the list, item number 1 is plan. We decided to do this on a whim. I've been wanting to do YouTube for about 5 years. I think we've been talking about it for like 6 months, something like that. And we didn't plan this. It was very spontaneous.
But when we say plan, we don't mean like be super rigid, allow for like spontaneity, just have fun, but also have an idea of what you want. Like maybe say, oh, we're going to go do these things this day. Let's record this. We kind of just ended up with loads of random footage at times with like, but then forgot to record the things that we were like, yes, we need to make sure we get this in.
Yeah, like when we went to like a new thing, so like when we went to say the Edge, for example, or we went to Times Square, we didn't have we need to get A shot, B shot, X shot, Y shot. We didn't do that. We didn't kind of just like take that 10 minutes to kind of go, okay, we need this, and this to make this comprehensive. We just kind of shot video. And then I got back and I had way too much footage, but also not enough footage. And a lot of it was basically unusable.
Yeah, we just had a lot of really nice scenic shots, but that's about it. Like there was no chatting or anything like that, really.
No, we didn't. Well, the thing is, we never wanted to be those people who do the camera stuff out in public because we don't like those.
Very awkward.
We're awkward people. We also don't really like those stage shots where, you know, someone puts a camera down on the floor and then like you go off into the distance and you walk towards it, or, you know, someone puts a camera down here, then you walk away from it.
We don't want staged.
We don't want it to be staged. So I think we were often fighting against trying not to be staged and not be too rigid, but also not filming what we need to film.
We kind of,
Yeah, I think just look, honestly, plan something. If you've got something planned, like our video for this video is like, it's 9 bullet points. We haven't planned, but at the same time, we've got something, so we know where we're going next. I think that's the big thing, isn't it? You know where you're going from A to B.
Point number 2, very similar to the last point, is actually record things. We mentioned this briefly a second ago, but we completely forgot to record. Like, we went out for a really nice dinner with our friends. We didn't really record much from the Edge. We spent a whole couple of days when we got back and was like,
wait, we didn't record anything for 2 days. Yeah, I think it's because we got mixed up in that kind of enjoy the holiday and actually try and do the vlog. And I think the previous part of the plan was definitely like key to getting those 2 enjoyment bits of having the vlog stuff and actually enjoying your holiday. Natural History Museum, for example, every single time, I think we did that well, because every single time I went to a room, I took the GoPro and I walked around and I got a load of shots. Then I turned the GoPro off, put it in my pocket, and I go enjoy the room and read all about the dinosaurs and have a lot of fun. Whereas there's a lot of other stuff that we didn't bring the camera out because physically bring it out of our pocket because we were having too much fun. So we kind of forgot. Whereas if we'd just actually done a bunch of filming in the first 10 minutes of us being in this new location, then we could have gone and had all the fun. And I think,
Yeah, 100%.
We forgot a lot.
Yeah.
But then
we've had fun, and that's kind of the main thing of the holiday.
We're learning. And this is the whole process. So we've learned a lot from that vlog. And this is us kind of like processing it and hopefully giving you guys some advice all at the same time. Number 3. So don't be afraid to talk in public. I'm not a confident person. It takes me a lot to do public speaking, and it takes me a lot to kind of like put myself out there. My lack of self-confidence is quite high. And yours is probably still the same as mine. Yeah. Not amazing, but
I got the giggles a lot.
Yeah. One thing you do realize, especially when you're filming somewhere like New York, no one cares. No one cares what you're doing. Everyone's a weirdo in New York. Like, everyone's got their own life. Everyone's doing their own thing. They don't care about you. And most of the time in the world, that's true. Unless you're, like, stood next to the only other person in a room doing it really loudly, like, no one's going to care. It just is what it is. I've got used to seeing my face on camera really quickly. Like, I hated my voice and my face on camera before.
It happened so fast. I didn't realize until, like, we were editing the videos, and I'm like, oh, no, that's just normal now.
Yeah.
I think... Okay.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the real test, I think, is when we do hopefully do this one at the Christmas market, which is in our hometown. It's a lot smaller. Like, there might be people we know. I think that's going to be a little bit more nerve-wracking, but I also think it'd be a good sort of test and like practice to keep doing it. Like you said, this is by no stretch of the imagination are we perfect at this. We're still slightly afraid to talk in public, but yeah, it's getting there.
I do think as well, doing it in England is going to be different to do it in America. Obviously, I'm English, so this is, talking shit about English people, but they tend to be a bit more judgmental, and not in a, I don't want to say in a particularly bad way, but there's a culture in England of just, fit in and just be, and, if you're trying to do anything different or kind of out there, it kind of gets looked down upon. It's like, why are you doing that? Why you just, not do that? And I think obviously being in New York's a big kind of liberal city, and I think the judgment would there definitely been less compared to here.
Yeah,
definitely think we'll get a lot more looks here if we start talking to a camera in Market Square here. We're going to get a lot more looks than we would if we were doing it in Times Square, for sure.
I think I also don't care. I'm getting there.
See, I'm getting there. I'm learning not to care, but it's still going to be something that I think about for sure. I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it's just going to be one of those things. But honestly, I can say this as someone who is afraid of doing it and someone who has massive self-esteem issues. Like, don't be afraid. No one cares. Like, and even if they do care, even if in the moment they care about what you're doing, even if they're like, oh, look at that weirdo over there doing a vlog, they won't think about it 5 minutes later. 5 minutes later, it'll be gone. And that's it. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, and honestly, if they are thinking about it more than 5 minutes later, that's how pathetic their life is compared to yours. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Part number 4, be yourself. This again was really difficult the first few times. We realized that we were putting on like a proper camera voice, and I think it's only over the past, I say 30 minutes, I've stopped doing it as much.
You can definitely tell in the video. So I think at the end of part 1, when we've left Double Chicken Please and we're walking through Times Square, we've obviously had a few drinks and we've stopped caring at that point. We've just gone, oh, look, we've had 2 or 3 drinks at this point. So we're not overthinking about it. So we were just literally just being ourselves. And it comes across so much better.
Yeah, so much more natural. And
yeah.
I
was going to say, and again, we really hate those people who are just kind of like, TV presenter. I'm in TV presenter mode. I'm going to speak the Queen's English, and I'm going to give you a news broadcast, and they talk with like very considered pauses, and like,
this is the most exciting thing I've ever done in my entire life. That's what I'm.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or even over from the other side where they're trying to explain something like, you put the chicken in a pan, and then you turn on the heat, and it's just like, all right, cool. You could have just said you put the chicken in the pan and you turn the heat on, like just.
Obviously, popular vloggers and YouTubers that do it gets popular for a reason, but then there's also a lot of people like us that choose to watch people that we have stuff in common with, that we like the personalities of. So
yeah,
always try and just use that to your advantage, because I can almost guarantee you're at least a slightly interesting person that people want to hear speak. So
yeah, I mean, the example I always use is like, there's plenty of like cookie cutter. There's plenty of people in the world who can sing, right? But if they don't have a slightly unique voice, they're not like an Amy Winehouse or a Freddie Mercury or an Adele or a Kurt Cobain or, even just someone who's got like a rasp or something about their voice where you can hear it for the first time and go, oh yeah, I know who that is. I know who that singer is. I know that's Beyonce. I know that's Rihanna. Rihanna's a great example of someone who has a very unique singing voice, and Rihanna will stand out way more than anyone that's got like just a generic, plain, pitch perfect singing voice, because she has actually got a personality. And I think just be you. Don't try and imitate anyone else.
Find your style, find what you enjoy, and just go with it.
Yeah. And also, don't try and copy other people and don't hold yourself to their standard. So we watched a lot before we went away and we're like, we're never going to be able to achieve that. We can't do that. And then we realized halfway through, it doesn't matter. We could hit that level, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, number 5, speak with purpose. And I know we just talked about this, but when you're talking, make sure you're talking for a reason. There's a lot of crap on the on our vlog where we're just talking nonsense, absolute nonsense, and
we sound really weird.
We sound weird. It doesn't make sense to anyone but us and the people that we're with. And there's little sound bites and sound clips. They don't really do you any favors because they're just there, and you're thinking to yourself, I might want to keep that in because that was funny at the time. Then you realize, wait, no one else is going to get that. So when you are talking on the camera, just make sure you're talking for a reason. If that makes sense, you don't have to be like, presenter mode. You don't have to do that, but you just need to, just talk with a bit of purpose, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Just don't babble and loud.
And I think that brings us straight on to point number 6, which is buy a microphone. We have these now. These are Hollyland, as you can see on here.
Sure. There we go.
The thing. What? Oh, yeah, sorry.
This is the makeup vlog thing.
See, not a YouTuber. Buy some sort of microphone. It doesn't really matter what it is. These were £80, so like $100, and it's a Hollyland Lark M1. It comes with 2 of these with little things on the top if you want them on or off.
It's a little AirPod-style case.
Little AirPod-style case and a little receiver which plugs into both DSLRs, iPhones, blah, 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 blah.
Have you tried it on the GoPro yet? Does it work with the GoPro?
It probably does, yeah. I'm sure it does. Yeah. But just buy something. Like my iPhone, which is what most of our vlog was filmed on. We use GoPro for time-lapse stuff, but we use my iPhone 15 Pro Max for most of it. The video comes out great. And the sound, for the most part, is pretty damn great. It does a really good job of doing it. And the intro to this video was filmed on that. But there is certain situations where we could have used a microphone. When we were in Dead Rabbit, it was too loud. And when we were in... oh my God, Double Chicken Please.
Yes.
When we were in Double Chicken Please, we had to basically cut that whole section and turn it into like a mini kind of music video because it was just too loud and we couldn't record anything. Whereas if we had this with us, we could have plugged it into the phone and we could have talked into it and you could have got some footage with us talking and it would have been probably a little bit better.
Yeah, I think if you were going to spend money on anything, don't worry about the camera yet. Don't spend loads of money on fancy vlogging camera. Use your phone. Even mine, I think mine's just the iPhone 13, and the bits we got off that are absolutely fine.
Oh, genuinely, if you have an iPhone 12 or upwards, you're fine. It will be absolutely fine.
Yeah, just if you're going to spend any money and you've got a little bit of money spare, mics.
Yeah, and little lavalier mics like this are fairly cheap, and you can get them off Wish, or Temu. Temu will have lavalier mics that you can plug directly into your camera, to your phone, and if you're holding it here, even that will be infinitely better in a tough sound environment than just your phone's camera. So,
yes.
Yeah. So, why don't we do it together? So you do 5 and I'll do 2.
Okay,
ready? 3, 2, 1.
7. There we go.
There we go.
Great work.
Yeah.
You can't have too much footage. So we had so much B-roll, as we called it. So yeah. I don't know if it's the actual name. I assume it is. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
So when we weren't actually filming ourselves or our friends, we were just carrying our phone around, filming as we were walking or filming the views. So you can pop those into the bits where between and for transitions and just for nice little.
Yeah, I know we spoke about earlier about actually recording things, but then recording kind of things that you need to record and making sure you get the right things. But you can't have too much footage. The more you record, the better. Obviously, don't let it ruin your holiday by always having your camera out or anything. Or don't say holiday like everyone's doing a travel vlog.
Yeah.
But
Whatever you're doing.
Whatever you're doing.
Don't let ruin your day.
Don't let it ruin your day. But at the same time, you can't have too much footage. More footage is always better. It might be more to go through and it might take you longer to edit, but you'll get into a rhythm pretty quickly about knowing what you need. And if you've done your planning and you know what shots you need, then you should be all good. So, number 8.
8. No.
Maths. Number 8.
I didn't know how many fingers you were going to hold up. I didn't know if you were going 4 or...
Well, I thought we'd just stick with the 5 and... Okay. Number 8. Try your best to shoot chronologically. We, especially for vlog type content, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter if it's talking head stuff. We've moved things around on this. We've skipped things on the list and we've gone up and down. But try and shoot chronologically because it just makes it easier. When you drag those things into your timeline and they're there, you can drag a whole section of something into your timeline for editing, and then you know that's in order of how the events happened. Whereas if, like, we did make some mistakes when we got to the hotel, we recorded some stuff outside the hotel, but then we realized we had no B-roll of the hotel. So our B-roll of the hotel is daytime B-roll, but we arrived at the hotel at night. So then we messed that up where we were kind of like, oh shit, we've fucked this, haven't we? Where we can't actually then do a little bit of B-roll because it's day B-roll and we got there at night. And it's pretty obvious we got there at night because when we come out the train station, yeah. So try your best, absolute best to shoot chronologically. Obviously, it's not always possible. And sometimes we did some talking head stuff on the vlog and did some voiceover stuff, which we realized we missed, but it will make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
And then one other thing that I'll give you a tip on is trying to use one type of camera. So we had my iPhone 15 Pro Max, we had your 13, and then we had a GoPro with us as well. Now the GoPro is really useful for kind of just storing things on and doing time lapses, and it looks good, right? However, when you drag that into your computer, the likelihood of that picking the chronologicness, I don't know how
chronological
words,
something.
The likelihood of your computer picking those clips versus your iPhone clips and being able to sort them into a chronological order is hard work. So whereas my phone had it all in one order, my GoPro had it all in one order, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I need to now mix and match which ones go where. And yeah, that became a nightmare.
I feel like a good 30% of your video making time was organizing the videos.
And resizing footage as well, because I shot my phone in 4K and then I shot the GoPro at 2K. So when I'm editing the timeline at 2K, because I didn't want to do the full 4K because of storage space, I then had to shrink all my iPhone. I caused myself some problems, basically. And again, I shot all my iPhone in HDR and the GoPro's standard definition range. So I caused problems. Like, use one camera. It will make your life easier, especially at the start, for sure.
I have absolutely no idea. I lost count a while ago.
I think we're basically at the end now. We've gone through the list, so we're at the end. I think finally the next thing is just start. And I think we put it off for so long. Too long. And we've had trips, like you can go on the channel and you can see when we go to All In at Wembley. And we did I did it as a reel because I wanted to try this and test it. And I did it as a reel for Instagram. And I think it came out pretty well. And I was really happy that we'd done that for that trip. And we had that nice memory and we had that thing there to put out. But we could have done a proper one. And there's so much we could have done. We took a trip to York about 6 months ago. That would have been great to do. We've had like different days out for like Sunday roast with our friends and things like that. And and we could have,
like do it to have fun. Like, don't do something like this because you think it's going to you're going to get YouTube famous and all that. Like, do it because you want to do it. Use it as like a creative outlet. You do it as a way to look back on all the fun things you've done, like, and don't wait to have like the perfect content. Like, obviously we got lucky with the fact that we were doing this huge New York trip, but like we said, we could have done it before with these smaller trips. And 100% a good 80% of our content is going to be like small little trips. We're not rich and famous. We both have very normal jobs and we can't afford to be doing huge trips twice a year just for content. Like, just do it because you want to do it and it's going to be a fun time.
And you got to remember as well, what is interesting to people is not always what you think. Yes, New York is a very big place and a lot of people are interested in New York, but York is a beautiful place and it has 1,000,001 tourists there every year. And we could have done that and it would have been just as interesting. For example, when we went on this trip, right, we were looking for hotels near Heathrow. So we went on YouTube And we looked for videos about the Aerotel hotel where we stayed. We looked for videos about the Heathrow Hilton Garden Inn hotel, which was nearby. And we looked at people's vlogs of those hotels to compare.
And they were like really small people. Like there were people with videos of like a couple of hundred views. So we were like, stuff that people want to see.
Yeah, like we were, and I mean, it doesn't have a huge audience, but we were interested in it, and like, scale it up a little bit. So yeah, you're doing the Aerotel, but do it as a day in the life if you get in there, and include St. Pancras in it if you come in from that way, and go from there. Like even when we were looking at hotels in New York and we stayed at the Moxie, we looked for vlogs of people that stayed at the Moxie, and some of them had bigger videos and some of them had smaller videos, and don't be afraid of what might be interesting.
Think about the stuff that you look at. We watch some really weird vlogs, and we found some people we really enjoy because of weird niche interests. So don't think it has to be something huge that everyone can relate to. Think of stuff that you relate to and go from there.
You never know what's going to pop. Like there's that guy on YouTube at the minute who's getting loads and loads and loads and loads of subscribers and loads of views, and his content is just him working out. And that's pretty much it.
And driving his car.
Yeah, and driving his car and talking to the camera about his workout journey. It's not overproduced. He's not a professional in any way, shape, or form. It's filmed on his phone, and it's popping off. And like, you're never going to know what's going to pop off until you start, unless you go out there trying to clone someone else's content and try and ride the wave of what someone else is doing.
Which 1,000 other people are
already doing. If Mr. Beast is successful, you can guarantee that guy's got 50,000 imitators trying to be him, because that's what people do.
That aren't successful.
So just honestly, just start. Put up some gaming videos, walk about. One of my favourite people to watch, I can't remember the guy's name now because it's on my subscriber list. He just does walking tours of London. All he does is
Oh, I like him, the older guy.
Yeah. He just... like, it's just him and his phone. He's got a little lavalier mic on. He's got his phone here. He walks around London around a certain section and gives you a tour of the history of it. It's not overproduced. It's not crazy, but damn, is it interesting. And like, he just started doing it. So just do it. And in fact, even better example, these microphones, I was having issues with getting this thing on and off properly. So I was trying to look for a video on this, and there was just some old guy who just did a little tour of like the microphones and showed you how to use it. The guy only had a couple of thousand subscribers.
But he solved our issue.
But he solved my issue. It was like...
when the actual company one didn't.
Yes, when the company website and the company tutorial didn't solve my issue and the manual didn't solve my issue, that guy solved my issue. And that's great. And yeah, I think we should have started a long time ago. But, hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? We're here now. And let's do it.
Having fun.
Lots of fun.
Thank you for watching this. I hope that our mistakes have helped you as much as they've helped us.
Yeah, I think there's always a lot to learn. There's always things to do and stuff to kind of learn from. And if anyone ever tells you they're not learning, then they're lying. They're lying, basically. But yeah, we've got more stuff to come. We're going to reflect on some more bits from the trip. We've got some more tips and stuff coming up. We've got more... we've got some top 10s coming up about where we actually want to go and what we want to do with the channel going forward. So yes.
We are hopefully going to make it to the Christmas market.
Yes, hopefully. Maybe tomorrow or the day after. We'll work it out. It's fine. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, we've got plenty of stuff coming up. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, etc. Drop a comment. I don't know.
We'll see you soon.